A harmonious salutation to you. This video we're going to talk about the lover, so the next matrix character. The lover talks about many things, but mainly we're going to focus here on duality and indecision, victimism and villainy. Okay, if you watched my last video where I shared my experience on seeing for the first time, you're going to remember that I talked about fears. So when you have a fear of doing something, you may block yourself from doing that said thing, and then you won't be able to learn it. Okay, that block that you have, it's a neurological block, and that block is the one creating the duality. Okay, it's that duality of the fear. Do I go or not? Do I stay or not? You know, so this block, when you unblock it, when you break out of duality, a new neural path starts in your brain, and then now you can do this thing like a breeze. It's not a problem anymore. So the lover talks about this in a way, because we can see here in many of the different blades I have that it shows a man, in this case the mage, between many decisions. So in this case here, Adam is between Lilith and Eve. Then we have the Egyptian one here as well, between two, and this is the Greek one. So this is the myth of Paris, and he has to choose the best out of those three gods here. So again, it's between a decision, and he is likely indecisive in this case, which is also the name of the Egyptian blade. So anytime you are between two options, you are between duality. And the thing is, most of the times, both options are wrong, or they're too much. Two columns, okay? So you don't want to be neither too much on one column nor too much on the other column. You want to be in the middle. You want to balance out both, because otherwise if you're too much here, you're going to have the tendency to fall over. You're going to have a lot of weaknesses because you're just working a small subset of everything you have to work. So when we are talking about indecision, also what happens is you are indecisive, okay? So basically you are between a yes and a no. Between yes and no, okay? And what happens is now you have short breath. And guess what? This short breath will cause fear into you. It's all a physiological response. And now that you have this fear, this anxiety that is being created here from the short breath is going to only make things worse. So you're going to enter a downwards spiral, okay? You're going to be like, it's very hard to recover. So what's the solution? Well, first of all, having a decision. So anytime you are between two options and you're thinking too much, what will likely happen is that eventually the universe will make a decision, and usually it is the hardest one. So as you can see here, we have Adam. I'm going to bring it a little bit closer. We have Adam, and we have the Cupid, and it's shooting its arrow on Lilith, which in this case would be the worst or the most challenging decision. Okay, but again, if you were to choose Eve, he wouldn't be super in the best spot anyway. So you gotta bring balance. If you are, let's say, in a relationship, you cannot be the other person's mom or dad, nor just be their lover. So that's the archetype here, Eve and Lilith. You gotta be both. And when you're talking about yourself as well, You gotta be your own father and son. You gotta balance out both. Again, two columns to reach the middle path. Another really cool thing for us to see is that the first arcana, so the magician, is going to be from the element earth and is going to be related to the frequency alpha, so the alpha frequency. Second arcana is going to be connected to air and connected to the beta frequency. So you see all those memes about being a beta, being an alpha, that's, again, all Kabbalah, right? So the alpha is the one doing the stuff, is the one creating. The beta is the one receiving, just getting passively. Third arcana, as we already know, is water. And it's going to be the gamma frequency. Then we have fourth being fire and being the delta frequency. And another thing we can do here to correlate these is to correlate them to parts of the brain. So the alpha would be the reptile brain. The beta would be the neocortex. The gamma would be the limbic. And the delta would be the prefrontal, I think it's called cortex as well, prefrontal cortex. So here we have the instincts, here we have the reasonings, then we have the emotions, and here we would have the imagination, but also the one controlling the instincts. Okay, so then again, you see how everything that we are talking about here, these guys, it's always relating to this technology that you possess, that you are working with right now. It's always something internal for you to work on, for you to get better. So if you understand how to control all these parts of the brain, you don't become, let's say, you don't have a problem with them anymore, right? You're not controlled by them anymore. So the first step, reptile brain, your instincts. This is the unconscious part. Most people are living here like automatons, like robots. Gotta grow out of it. Then here, becoming conscious of your actions, reasoning them out. The emotions. Okay, this is like conscious, unconscious. Then the emotion is going to be the subconscious. Okay, we can make this correlation. It's not always necessarily that, but make correlations to help understand. And then again, here, when we get to the fire, to the emperor, we are controlling the instincts. And we also learned on the last one that we have the quintessence, so the fifth. Quintessence, which is going to be like an energetic helmet. I'm gonna make it in blue. It's going to be like an energetic helmet, which holds you. It's not the prettiest thing in the world, but you get the idea. So it's this energetic helmet that holds in and encompasses all the four elements. So it's like the sum of the four elements. Okay? And now we get to the sixth one, which is the duality between two decisions. Okay? Another interesting thing to understand is that this card is connected to the letter, the Hebrew one, Vav, which would be the Latin V. But the Vav is like a joker letter. So the Vav can also be used as U, as O in the middle or the end. It can also be used as W or even B. So it's a very sneaky little letter that you may have seen in some memes right there from, let's say, Monster energy drink or so on. But let's see something really interesting. You can make the correlation between the Vav, or the 6 in this case, being distractions. Things that distract you. Okay? So the Vav is equal to distractions, from what we are seeing here, the being indecisive and so on. Where do you go every day that has a lot of those? Well, it can also be a W. Guess where? Your internet's playing some tricks on you every time you see those symbols. And guess what? If this is the 6th one, Vav, the 6th. Oh my God. Ooh, crazy, right? If you want me to make a video on this crazy number right here, let me know in the comments. But yeah, you can play around with some stuff after you start understanding how it all connects, and it becomes really funny. Now, let me see if that's all for duality and indecision, but I think it is. Yes, yes, yes. So just the last thing about it is complaining creates duality. Okay, and this is gonna tie a little bit into the next one, so I'm gonna cross this one. Every time you complain about something, oh, this doesn't work, or this is not good, or this is shit, and so on, so on, so on, you are creating the duality on your life. You are splitting the energy into the V. The energy comes like this, the plasma comes like this into your head, and you are splitting it. Okay? How do you solve this? No, first of all, don't complain. It doesn't help. Literally, just make things worse. If you have a problem, focus on the solution. Simple as that. Oh, my job is not cool right now. Okay, what can you do about it? Can you find a better job? Can you find a way to make it work? Can you, let's say, maybe do something on yourself to make it work? Or is it better to just go away and so on? Again, just complaining only make things worse. Focus on the solution, and the solution comes. Now, this ties a bit into the next topic, which is victimism versus villainy. So this here kind of shows us that there's no such thing as being a victim or a villain. Any situation that you put yourself into is because, well, guess what? You put yourself into. You created the conditions for that to happen. That is not to say that if you go through an extremely unfortunate situation, let's say being robbed or something like this, that the other person doesn't have the blame, because they also have the blame. So in this case, both people have the blame. Let's say you get out of your home and you're thinking about being robbed, even on a subconscious level, right? You're thinking about it, and you get out of your house, and then the other guy comes thinking about robbing someone. He's already prepared to do it. Okay? Guess what? You two are going to encounter each other, and a robbing will occur. So if you weren't in this state of mind, this reality literally wouldn't happen to you. Now again, it's not to say that this guy doesn't have the blame, because he was also into it. He was also thinking about it. But he's not the cause of the situation. And that is to any situation. If you feel like you are in let's say, not so great relationship with someone. That could be family, friend, not only romantic relationship. Or if you are in a not so good situation as one, there's no such thing as a villain. Even because if you put into your mind that there's someone which is a villain, which is, let's say, making things worse for you, the problem is now you don't have any responsibility on the thing. And guess what? If you're not responsible, you cannot change it. So unless you get all the responsibility to yourself, you're not going to be able to change the situation, and, well, you can just complain. And like we just learned, complaining doesn't help either. So use this affirmation next time you think to yourself, because most people watching this video probably will fit more into the victim mindset, I would say, because actually most people wouldn't place themselves as the villain. I think that rarely happens. So it is more likely that you saw yourself being the victim at some point. But do reflect on times that you also could have been the villain in someone else's life. And then you're gonna see it's very hard, because we don't want to see ourselves as the villains, right? But it's very easy to put the blame on someone else to be the villain. Oh, he was the one causing this. Usually it's family, romantic relationships, things like that. Or like your boss or whatever. But again, we know that's not true. So, have this affirmation. I'm not a victim, nor a villain. I'm from the middle path. Okay? Think to yourself this, especially when you are beginning to feel like a victim, or when you see like, okay, I went through something which is not really nice, and remember this phrase. Now, it's not something super easy, especially depending on the degree of the situation you went through, but you have to remember this is for your highest good. If you assume you are the victim, you are powerless again. So remember, being in the middle path. Not too much of this, not too much of this. Both. Okay? Working in harmony. I'm pretty sure you're almost there. Okay? Two other things that I want to talk about here. Next time you see that archetype of someone with a little angel on their shoulder, like this, and a little devil on the other one, now you're gonna remember about this archetype, the lovers, which is literally this. It's you between virtue and vice, between something you want to do and something that you really want to do, and something that you just want to do right now. It's this duality that generates. Another thing that we have to do here, which I briefly talked about earlier, but I'll do another video on it, is that for you to break the duality, not being between one or the other, you gotta combine both, okay? And this combination of both is going to be combining your light self, your current self, and your shadow self. This is a concept that appears in many movies. For example, one from the top of my head is The Matrix, and you have Neo and Agent Smith, one being the light and the other being the shadow, right? You have a lot of stories talking about this. But the idea here is that this other you is going to be your soulmate, or your twin flame, whatever you want to call it, right? I'm gonna make a deeper video on this, but that's the idea, breaking the duality, becoming one whole thing. So that's it for today. My name is Matt Mora. I'm a Kabbalah adept. If you like those kind of videos, let me know. Put a comment here, like, share, send me a message, anything. And if you have any content suggestions, again, let me know, send a message here or somewhere else. And if you need some help with any of the things that I talk about, like Kabbalah, Tarot, astrology, just hit me up and we'll try to sort out something. Okay? That's it. Thanks a lot for watching this video and hope to see you next. See ya.